To welcome each of you here tonight. It's great to see such a big crowd, and it's also great to be here at Palmetto Middle. Now I'd like to call our meeting to order and ask you to stand for the invocation by Ms. Hood and to remain standing for the Pledge of Allegiance.
Let's pray. Father, we thank you so much for giving us the opportunity to be here today. We thank you for the wonderful weather you blessed us with. Thank you for each person in this room. We ask that you bless everyone, bless the teachers and the students at this time of year. Bless our new teachers as they come in and introduce themselves tonight. Give us wisdom in all our decisions. In your name we pray.
Yes. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you, Ms. Hood. Our next item is item number 4, which is approval of tonight's agenda. Do I have a motion that we accept it? Mr. Wilson, do I have a second? Dr. Neal, any discussion? All those in favor, show it by the uplifted hand. Our next item is item number 5. It's our minutes of the March 24th meeting. Do we have any corrections or additions to be made at this time? Hearing none, I need a motion to accept these minutes as presented.
So moved with accept the minutes as written.
Ms. Ellison, do I have a second?
Second.
Ms. Hood. We're ready to vote. All those in favor, show it by the uplifted hand. Our next item is recognitions, and I'll turn it over to Dr. Young.
Something I don't think we have any press here tonight, but first recognition, I'm actually going to introduce Ms. Kristen Hearn. She's our got several guests here, so if you want to tell everybody what we had going on before and why they're here and why we're excited they're here.
Sure, sounds great. So our teacher forum in Anderson 1, which includes all of our school teachers of the year, have several different projects that they work on during our school year. And one of those is a future, thank you. One of those is a future teacher recognition for our students in Anderson 1 who are going to college to become teachers. So first, I'd like to recognize our teachers of the year that are here and have helped plan this event. So if you're still here, I would love for you to stand up so that we can give you a round of applause. And then our future teachers, we are just so proud of all of you because we know that you are going to go on to college and your studies and then come back into our schools and make such a difference in the lives of our students. One of the things that we have talked about as a district and as a teacher forum group about how one day y'all are going to come back and you are going to be offered jobs in Anderson 1, and we're going to be able to look back on the pictures that we have taken at this event, your signatures that are on the poster, and know that you were here and you were educated in our schools by teachers in our schools, and now you're carrying that tradition on. So we are so proud of all of you, and we would love it if you would come up to the front to be recognized as a group and take a picture with our board members. So those of you that are our high school students that are here with us, please come right up here at the front. And we definitely want to give all of you a big round of applause.
know some of our students have chorus concerts and orchestra concerts and band concerts, and you need to sneak out to go perform. I do not want your teachers mad at me because you're still sitting here, so y'all do what you need to do.
Thank you all for coming.
Thank you. Ms. Upton, Dr. Young, if y'all come forward, we've got a couple of students we'd like to recognize who have achieved mightily here for us at the state level. We're going to start, Mr. Drew Whiteside, would you come forward? Coach, y'all come with Coach Brown. We've been trying to get through this a little bit. He's a busy young man, so Drew, I want you to hold that. He was the state wrestling champ for the 106 weight class this year. So. Thank you. Congratulations. Y'all, let's just stay. We've got a couple others we'll recognize. I want to get this right because when I was growing up, this was FHA. It is now called the Family Career Community Leaders of America. I want to get that right from the former was Home Economics Association. We've got state winners at the FCCLA State Chapter Service Gold Award. These are state winners. We've got Avery Brown. And we got Cameron Davis. Stay up here and say, I also want to let you know, Cameron was also named first vice president for this. If teachers, y'all come up. Ms. Whiteside. Ms. Wither, you'll come up with us. Congratulations. Thank y'all. Those were our state champions for today. Mr. Moore has a couple of recognitions he would like to make.
Thank you, Dr. Wilson. My name is Brad Moore. I'm the Chief Academic Officer here at Anderson 1, and it's good to see you this evening. We have two schools that we want to recognize today for just something special they've worked hard for that they've earned. And we're going to tell you a little bit about our Leader in Me journey. For those of you that haven't heard that, the state reached out to us about 4 years ago and wanted Anderson 1, because of the excellence in Anderson 1 and all things that we do. They wanted us to show some interest in that. And it turned out that all of our elementary schools participated in Leader in Me, and now that exists in our middle and high schools in some degree. And we have two schools board that have recently this year been named as Lighthouse Schools. And this designation is really a national, I would dare say international recognition. It's a big deal. And what I want to do before we recognize those folks is to just share some of what Leader in Me, Franklin Covey, says about our Lighthouse Schools. And this is criteria to be named as such. And I think you'll be impressed with this. The principal, school administration, and staff engage in ongoing learning and develop as leaders while championing the leadership for the school. Families and school partner together in learning about the 7 habits and leadership principles through effective communication and mutual respect. Leadership is shared with students through a variety of leadership roles, and student voice leads to innovations within the school. School-wide classroom, family, and community leadership events provide authentic environments to celebrate leadership, build culture, and allow students to practice leadership skills. The school utilizes a process to identify and track progress toward their wildly important goals, yes, their WIGs, for school, classroom, and staff. And then finally, teacher planning and reflection, trusting relationships, and student-led learning combine to create environments for highly engaged learning. And I think we can all agree those are very positive attributes. And so we have two schools that we want to recognize for achieving Lighthouse designation. Our first school to be named as such, not that there wasn't any friendly competition among the two schools and leaders, was Wes Pelzer. So if I can ask Principal Miranda Leopard and the rest of her staff and students to come forward, I would love to do so at this time. And Ms. Leopard, just quickly, can you introduce to us quickly who is with you tonight?
Yes. We have our Lighthouse team, which is made up of teachers and staff, and then we have our Student Lighthouse team, which is made up of 2nd, 3rd, 4th, and 5th grade students, and so that is who's here.
All right, now we do have one order of business. There is a young man here, Miss Upton, that I think you need to know. His name's Pierce Huff, and he has written some words that he needs to share about his Leader in Me experience. And I will tell you, Sure, come on over here with me, sir. I've already met this wonderful young man who's dressed nicely, much more nicely than Mr. Moore. He impressed our superintendent when our superintendent was visiting so much that Dr. Young came back to me and said, I got to tell you about this young man that I met at West Pelzer today. So, sir, it's great to have you, and here's the microphone. I'd like for you to share with our board your speech you've created for us.
So I created a speech, and they wanted me to come and say it. So I met Dr. Young at a small private skin, and we've been friends ever since. And so now we're going to start. And whenever they started teaching us about Leader in Me and the habits, I just thought it was so cool, and been doing it ever since. And there's just we teach it at all the grades and everybody that comes into the school, and we welcome them to the school. And they come, and then we welcome them, and everybody's welcome to come in.
It's not easy to stand in front of everybody. You did a great job. So come over here and join your folks here, and I'm going to hold this out for you guys. If you students don't mind, you'll hold that. We'll take a picture. Great job. Another big round of applause for those folks. Not too long after we received the message that West Pelzer was named a Lighthouse School, we got word of a second school, elementary school, that was named a Lighthouse School, and they've worked really hard as well. Really proud of them. So I'm going to ask Miss Martin, principal at Powdersville Elementary School, if you guys will come up. And Miss Martin, if you'll introduce everyone to us, please.
I'm Kelly Martin, principal at Powdersville Elementary, and with us today we have our staff Lighthouse team that's here, and we also invited some of our 5th grade student Lighthouse members. So we're all proud and excited that we got named Lighthouse School, and just excited that we are able to share that with y'all tonight.
Thank you, guys.
We have one more person that we want to recognize tonight, and I don't know who's going to take her picture when I call her up here, but we had one of our staff members win 3 state awards over the last couple of weeks. I think everybody up here appreciates the job she does. But Ms. Jen Mazza, will you please come up here? I hope a lot of people, I know I get a lot of positive feedback, but we have really upped our game with some of our photography and videos and storytelling that we do on our social media platform and different things that we have going on. So Ms. Mazza actually got 3 awards from the South Carolina chapter of the National School Public Relations Association. It's the SCNSPRA. But that's a pretty big deal. She got 3 awards for some of her videos and photography that she's done and putting it out on social media. So we're really excited about that. She's getting recognized Friday in Columbia at a big banquet. But we also wanted to present her and recognize her. So we had to surprise her. We probably would. She would probably not shown up tonight. So we got her on this side of the camera. But Jen, thank you so much. And
She's the best.
Yes. There she is. There she is.
Thank you. You're so sweet.
Good job.
You need to get up. Thanks, guys.
Good job. That was a good surprise.
To go along with our wonderful, there's so many wonderful things about Anderson One. So I get the opportunity to introduce our wonderful new employees, which we certainly are glad they are with us this evening. I am going to begin by our one administrative recommendation, and that is for the assistant principal at Wren Elementary School, Mr. Mike Gianni.
Thanks for having me. My name is Mike Gianni. I've been blessed to be at Anderson One for 8 of my 9 years, and I look forward to working with the staff, the students, the parents, the community, as we continue to grow and work towards that excellence. Strong believer in our mission statement of love, learn, lead, and I hope to continue that as I take this role on, as I am recommended for this position. So I appreciate it, and thank you for everybody.
Ms. Terry, we'll let you start the teacher recommendations.
Hi, I'm Marina Terry. I student taught at Wren Elementary and fell in love with District 1. I graduated from Clemson University and I was an early hire, and now I will be at Powdersville Elementary in 5th grade, and I'm so excited.
My name is Marissa Everhart. I graduated from Clemson University. I currently teach at Davisville Elementary in Pickens County, and I will be teaching 1st grade at Powdersville Elementary next school year. So thank you for the opportunity.
I'm Melissa Baxley, Clemson University a long time ago. I'll be teaching at Wren Elementary in their special ed part.
I'm in the Clemson residency program. I'm a resident at Palmetto Elementary, and I'm super excited to be joining the 4th grade senior next year. It's been a dream come true when Anderson One is the best place to be. So I'm very excited.
My name is Emma Thomas. I did my student teaching at Cedar Grove Elementary School this past year. I graduated in December from Anderson University, and I am being recommended for a position at Palmetto Elementary School in 3rd grade. I'm very excited. I fall in love with District 1, and I just want to thank you for the opportunity.
I'm Lynn Fields. I'm also the head softball coach at Wren High School. I did my student teaching at Wren High School in the Freshman Academy, and I'm graduating from Langer University in the spring in a couple of weeks. And I took a social studies position at Wren High School.
Hi, I'm Crystal Hahn. I have been with Anderson District 1 for 9 years. I work in ID moderate classroom at Palmetto Middle School for 8 years. I am graduating in 3 days from Grand Canyon University in Arizona, and I'm taking a position at Palmetto Elementary in special education in the ID moderate classroom.
My name is Jill Henderson, and I graduated from Anderson University, and I will be at Wren Middle School teaching the group dynamics related arts class. And I'm so excited to finally come back home. I live over here, and I'm ready to be teaching in my community. Thank you.
I am an adult. I blend in with children. I'm Carlin Massey. I went to Anderson University, followed by Winthrop, and I will be teaching resource at Concrete, and I'm so excited to work with Ms. Porter.
Alright, I'm Zach Chapman. I graduated Anderson University. Came second time back into Anderson 1. Been trying to get back for a few years now. Came from Pickens Middle School. And just will be teaching at Powderfield Middle School, visual arts.
Is there anyone, I don't want to leave anyone out. Again, welcome. I do want to say a special thank you to our administration. They worked so hard to hire the very best, and I appreciate that. And as always, thank you, Ms. Brooks, for all that you do for our induction and our recruitment program. Ms. Upton.
And on behalf of our Anderson School District 1 board, let me be the first to welcome you to the best school district in South Carolina. We're so glad to have you. Thank you for coming tonight and let us meet you. I would love for you to stay, but you're not required to stay. You're free to leave at this time. Thank y'all.
Broke her collarbone in a game.
Let's go ahead and see if we can get a signed contract. I think we can go to Dr. Young and Ms. Brady. We can get you hired tonight. Congratulations. That's awesome.
Congratulations. Your kiddos are adorable.
Yeah, I can let you get that.
Okay, Dr. Young, before we go on to the financial report.
Yes, Ms. Upton. In your packets or in your books, you'll see the local funds for all of our schools for the month ending March 31st. I'm going to point out a couple of accounts at each school that you'll see has crept up a little bit, but we'll be paying off those. So you might see athletic insurance, iPad protection. Those accounts will be split up here soon. And I also want to point out that we are meeting with our principals to make sure they have a plan to kind of get some of those local accounts and their instructional fee accounts spent by the end of the fiscal year. We'll be following up with those principals over the next couple of weeks on that. But if there's any questions on any of the local accounts at the school level, please let me know. followed by that on the blue pages, you'll see we've got 50 CDs with a little over $11.3 million invested. We've got $298,736 in interest for that month. On the following page, a summary of all our investment accounts. And then you have the backup to 1, 2, and 3 on the following page, followed by the backup to 4, and the backup to 5. And with that, for the first time, I'm going to turn it over to Ms. Cindy Durham, our new Director of Finance officially.
Okay, well, we're going to start out with the local option sales tax, which is that 515 account. So this month, we actually got 2 payments in. It was for December and for January. So total for Anderson County was $7,372,707.87. Anderson 1's percentage of that was 33.91%. And then when you break it down to the 20% property tax relief, that was $499,319.58. And then for capital use, money that we actually got at our district was $1,997,278.29. So December was our biggest ever, and it was like $1.1 million. So that was the biggest payment we've ever received for local option sales tax. So that was really exciting when that came in. So the beginning balance for the 515, the local option sales tax, was $18,933,987. And we finished with a $19,838,187. The 502, the building program, we currently have in revenue $56,128,567. Total program expenses are right at $54,078,267. We're getting close to finishing out this program, hopefully soon. And we have a current building program balance of $3,811,237. On your revenue report for the month of March, we collected $8,635,812.76, and that's at 77% revenue rate so far for the month, for the year. And then over to your expenditure report, we had $10,111,352 as our current month's expenses, and that's at a spending rate of 67%.
Next, we're going to review the budget, first reading of the budget. And as always, if there's questions on anything specific, one thing I do want to point out as we begin this is we are in good shape when you look at expenditures for fiscal year 26 and revenues. For last year's budget, we think we are really projecting to have a good budget year as we wrap up the next couple months for FY26. But as we begin the budget, we just want to point out and remind everybody of our mission statement. We're committed to a tradition of excellence, world-class knowledge, skills, life characteristics for all of our students. We want all of our students to be successful in anything they do. I know that I've heard some of y'all talk about the 3 A's, the arts, athletics, and academics, and that's really, we try to highlight all of that in anything that our students participate in. So we feel like we do a good job of that. We've got a tradition of excellence. We have a great supportive school board. Remember Great Day Celebrating at West Pelzer back in December. That was just an example, just a small snapshot of our community and the support we have for our schools, the culture that we have. Ms. Brady and Carol do such a wonderful job of creating that supportive environment that filters down to our administrators. We have growth opportunities. Mr. Gianni tonight is an example of somebody that came to us as a teacher, wanted to grow. He was able to get some opportunities, and now he's an administrator. You've got folks like Ms. Brady, myself, Mr. Moore that have spent their careers here and been able to pursue opportunities to grow. Ms. Durham, most recently, her way through our finance department. Now she's the director of finance, and we really try to invest in our employees and make sure they have opportunities to grow, not just our students. And once again, our commitment to academic excellence. We reviewed our strategic plan last month. Hey, we started testing today, so we're excited for that. With thunderstorms and power going out and traffic blocking up so students couldn't get to school, we still feel like we had a good start to testing today. I think Mr. Moore might talk about that here in just a minute. But that's our tradition of excellence that you are familiar with.
Okay, so when we're talking about the budget, there's 4 things that we always try to keep in mind. The first thing is we've got to be good stewards of the taxpayers' dollars. The second thing is we've got to make sure that whatever the state and federal are mandating, we have to meet those requirements. The third thing that we always want to keep in mind is our students. That's what we've got to focus on. And we want to make sure we have a world-class education for every student, not just traditional students, special ed students as well. And then the last thing is we always want to keep our employees in mind. We want to maintain and be competitive, offer competitive packages here at the office, and make sure we keep our salaries in line. Okay, so with that said, when we're looking at our expenditures, there were 4 things that the state was mandating this year. The number 1 was the teacher salary scale. It was a $2,000 per sales step increase for all teachers. The second thing was the second half of the insurance that happened last year. We had to put that into our budget this year. The third thing was a step raise for all employees that are on a scale. And the fourth thing was bus drivers who are considered state employees, they're getting a 2% mandated raise mandated by the state. But here at the district, we have 4 things that we've got to keep in mind when we're coming to the budget. The first thing we want to keep in mind is the cost of living for our employees. We've got to make sure that we maintain the salaries for all employees. The big one is OPL. This is a huge new expense that we have to take on. So we're adding on all the operational costs. That's around $335,000 that we had to add just to open up those doors. No teachers in that. That's just utilities and supplies and that sort of thing. The third thing is we have 2 programs that have really almost changed the dynamic of Anderson 1. One is the Adult Ed Center. They're doing some amazing things over there to help people get their GEDs and some testing from Ms. Brady. The other piece is McKinney-Vento. That's our homeless grant. Some of the funding through all the changes that have happened with the state and federal level has been pulled away from those grants, but we don't want to see those programs be cut. So we did put a little bit into the budget to support those programs. We're working with them to help them apply for additional grants and see if we can't get other funding. I know with McKinney-Vento, they're looking at a lot of churches to help them with some of their expenses, but that's one thing that we don't want to see fall through the cracks. And the last big expense is PPL. It still continues to be a big expense, our sub-calls. But with that, the Senate's also still considering and tossing around moving from 6 weeks to 12 weeks of PPL. And so that's something we've got to keep in mind, and we had to increase into the budget.
Go over the step raise mandate. Is that, just refresh me on what that is. I know what the steps are, but is that it's mandated across the whole step process?
Well, it is for teachers, but when you do one, you pretty much just do it.
So like you go from year 2 on the salary scale to year 3.
Right.
And whether you're a teacher, an assistant, a bus driver, we have that for custodians, front office workers. So there's that, when you get that year of experience, that's going to be a cost that is incurred as we retain our employees.
Yeah. So there's teacher start pay, but there's pay across the board.
Yeah.
As well. Okay. So the summary of these expenses are, we're looking at projected expenses total of right around $125 million. So our goal this year was to keep it below 5%. This actually gets us right at 4.3% of expenses. Now, with that said, this guy over here has already been getting the chisel out. And so this presentation was created, there's already been about $400,000 that he's chiseled away at us. And then we have meetings with Ms. Brady, and we have meetings with Brad Moore's department, and hopefully we're gonna tighten this thing up even more and get it to where we really need to be. So we still have work to do on the expense side.
When we started it, just to kind of give you a numeric value, when we started the process, we kind of looked at projections from the last several years and said we didn't want the budget to increase by more than 5% as we were looking at how districts around us and our own districts. So that started, we had a goal of $127.1 million. And we've already been able to work through Ms. Brady's department and some other things to get it down to 125.8. We hope to continue to move that down for a variety of reasons, and we'll get to why. The other thing I want to point out on the past week and the last few days, we talked about the cost of adult ed and McKinney-Vento. Mr. Carr actually helped facilitate this, but Ms. Cole, our director of adult ed, has been working with the new mayor in Pelzer, and we're going to try to help provide some opportunities for some of their folks to get some certifications. The more people that come through that program, that generates funding so that then they can create more budget revenue for that department, and we can kind of provide a service to the town of Pelzer as they're trying to provide opportunities for their like maintenance employees and things like that. So we're going to continue to try to pursue just unique opportunities like that to work with our community to serve them better. So for our adult ed, we'll probably have Ms. Cole here again in the next month or two. We just received where they won more awards and just got a glowing report for the job they're doing. And with McKinney-Vento, we have 500 homeless students. So sometimes you'll hear districts around us talk about their poverty level and things like that. In Anderson 1, we've got a little over 500 homeless students that we provide support with. Amber Monteroyo and her team really do a good job of working with the school counselors and teachers to provide supports for those students. But that's still 500 students that are considered homeless that we want to make sure that they continue to be successful. Some of the constraints, and y'all seen this graph for years and years and years. I know I'm not the first superintendent to put this in front of you, but I just want to highlight, it's kind of hard to see on the screen, but you can kind of see where the 5 districts in our county land. It's always easy when this graph pops up to 5 Anderson 1, because we're always way over here at the very, very bottom. Just to put something out there, I'm not trying to point fingers at anybody, but if we were just funded at the next lowest level per student in the county, that would be another $28.9 million. And I could close up the budget presentation, I could just throw out some stuff to you, y'all give me a thumbs up, and we'd say have a good night. But because of the way that a lot of variables at play with state revenue and local revenue and things like that, this is the hand we're dealt. However, we continue to be dealt this hand, and I think our track record speaks for itself. We're one of 2 districts that has 3 or more high schools with excellent rating. We're one of 2 districts that over 75% of our elementary school students were proficient in reading. We're one of 2 students that all of our students were over 50% proficient in math, whether they were grade 3 through 8. We were the only school district that all 4 of our EOC scores were ranked in the top 9 in South Carolina. So we are doing a really, really good job of providing supports to our students academically. Y'all have seen throughout the year our all-state, all-region chorus band students. We began the year at Powdersville High School with the band performing for us and the chorus performing for us. You see our FCCLA students getting recognized like across the board, despite some of the financial constraints that we could use an excuse. We just put our folks together, get the best people in the room, and do what we need to do to provide a great opportunity. You understand Act 388. I just want to continue to point out it costs us between 15 and 20 million annually when you go back and see how Act 388 has impacted Anderson School District 1 over the years. This year, if we chose to request a millage increase, that could generate, we could bump up our millage from 174 to 182, which would generate another 1.4 million revenue. I will go ahead and say right now, our goal is to avoid doing that. We know that's a strain on our small businesses in the district, and we've got other things we want to do down the road, so we want to be good stewards of the taxpayer money we have local.
Assuming we're successful in not decreasing village, can we use our new Rockstar platform? Ms. Mazza is going to talk about that.
Oh yeah, yes, we will make sure we publicize it.
Yeah.
The other thing that I want to make sure all of us understand, we showed you this last year, but now that we are live streaming and posting things on, I want to make sure everybody understands this, and if you get asked this question, on your tax bill, this is what a lot of people look at, and they always talk about all those school taxes they pay. Keep in mind that the actual school taxes folks pay is much less than what it appears. So for instance, this is a home, average market value in our district of $267,000. So about an average price home. Before Act 388, the property taxes that went to schools would be $2,788. When you factor in Act 388 and that property tax, what's the right word, reimbursement goes back to the property owner, they're really only paying $492 that goes to the school district. And this is for capital, and then they do not pay anything to the operating budget on owner-occupied homes. I think when folks talk about the school taxes and they're talking about their homeowners taxes and property taxes, we need to make sure folks are paying attention to this graph right here and how that impacts. Other budgeting obstacles, we have staffing needs. We are continuing to work with Dr. Keith and our special education department to make sure that we're providing the best services to streamline some of our special education programs, have those appropriately staffed. So we're making sure that families, we have in the past, just because of staffing needs, have students that start at Hunt Meadows and then they move to Concrete and then they move to Cedar Grove and then they come to Palmetto Middle and then they finish at Wren High School, and that's actually a track that families have to go through. We really focused hard and tried to just, if you start in the Palmetto feeder system, we want you to have a pathway to stay there. If you start in the Wren feeder system, we want you to have a pathway to stay there, so there's not transition. So that has been a goal with staffing that we've had, and we also wanted to make sure that we have appropriate class sizes and the teachers have what they need to be able to be successful. Clarity with local and state revenue. When we get to the expenditures in a little bit, you're going to see some things with the equalization tax, the county equalization tax, and some of the tier 3 taxes that might bring questions. Cindy and I have spent a lot of time working with Jason Phillips, our treasurer, to make sure that we understand exactly how to predict what those revenues will be. We got some inaccurate numbers from things as we were projecting our budget last year, but Cindy and her team, Ms. Brady and her team, Dr. Wilson has really helped us because we have invested a lot with safety and security, and despite all of these steps we've taken, you see our expenditures are still coming in below budget for this current school year, and despite the fact that we had some revenue expectations that we haven't met, we're still right where we need to be. Enrollment, we talked about statewide, nationwide, K-5 and first grade enrollment is a little bit lower, but one of the things we also realized is because of the shift in opportunities with the 4x4 schedule, and we have started having some kids wanting to graduate early. So we have invested with Anderson University and really worked hard with Tri-County to broaden our dual enrollment class opportunities. Holly Harrell from the Career Center was here earlier. We really have worked hard to make sure that we are doing a good job of providing co-ops, work-based learning experiences for our 11th and 12th graders, so that moving forward we don't have as many students graduating early, that they can get free college credits in high school, they can get access to work-based learning, and making sure that students stay connected to those extracurricular activities, be it athletics, the arts, ROTC, whatever. And then
y'all, just the cost of doing business. The cost of having security at an athletic event has tripled in the last 7 years. The cost of sending a school bus to Columbia for a playoff game has doubled in the last 3 or 4 years. So the cost of doing business is going up, so we have to make sure that we are putting that into the budget as we move forward. So now, my brand new director of finance is going to talk to you about the next part of the budget.
Okay, so we're in the revenue part, and we really looked super hard at a 5-year trend, and then like Dr. Young talked about, we actually went and sat down with Jason Phillips and made sure that we weren't just guessing when it came to budget. We really wanted to make sure we had good numbers. So our very first number that you're looking at is the ad valorem on property and auto taxes. And you can see that increase, that was a very nice increase of about $1.8 million is what we're expecting for this year. We're still waiting on those April numbers to come in, and hopefully that'll tick up just a little bit more, and we can squeeze a little bit more out of that. Delinquent taxes, those have been trending and going up over the last couple of years, and they have kind of backed off a little bit, but we're projecting about a $200,000 increase there. Fee in lieu is about right where it's always been. The county equalization, that was one where we had a little issue with some bad information last year. But we're gonna take that hit and we're gonna move on. And then the education funding model, that is that big state aid to classroom. And in your packet, I've had Heather give you a copy of what that formula actually is. Because I wanted you to actually see how complex and how robust this formula is. So, and then there's also behind that, there is a picture that came out from SCASA where they have buckets. So that's really and truly how it all works. All the money goes into one bucket and then it's just distributed to all the districts.
This is separate handout, so this is.
It's separate. Yeah.
I saw you looking for that.
Yeah, okay.
Yep.
So it's right there. And so hopefully that picture, I thought the picture was a great idea of the bucket so you could actually see how this is actually truly working. But there's really no control that we have over that. I mean, we can gain students and still not gain money based on that funding formula. But from what we're expecting about $1 million increase there. So our tier 1, 2, and 3, that was something we worked with Jason about, and we're expecting about an $897,000 increase there. Retiree insurance, we're losing money there. That's something that comes straight from the state. We can't control that. That number comes straight from the state. Other revenues, those are things like our CDs, our interest at LGIP. Those are some of the things that go into that. And so we're expecting, we're still seeing trends of interest. We're getting a lot more interest in the LGIP than we've ever gotten before. And you see on your blue sheet the money we're getting for the CDs. So we're expecting about a $309,000 increase there. And then we've got the use of fund balance at a negative right now. If we end up using fund balance, that would change. So what that gives us is an additional $2,357,000 that we could play with.
Can you give me like a bird's eye view of what the county equalization tax is?
Okay, well, we actually could. We can. Turns out it goes back all the way to like the 50s. Nobody really knows how it came to be, but it's apparently, from what we've learned, is it's a 14.7% tax that's on all
14.7
meals, that's on all the meals, in every single district's meals. And essentially, every money that comes in, tier 3 money comes into the county, they take out 14.7 meals from that money, and then they distribute it. And it's per student.
Is this the county or the board of education?
Right now, Jason Phillips is controlling it. But the county board can decide how that, the county board is the body that votes on how that is levied to the taxpayer. So if they wanted to move more meals into that, they could. But to us, our hypothesis is in the 50s, when they went to 5 school districts in the county,
next closest one's 18,000 per student.
No, they don't equalize it based on that. They equalize it based on the number of students you have. And so, yeah, it's kind of a,
House of Representatives versus the Senate.
yeah, and it's also a
equally distributed.
Right, and it's also a, as I think my hypothesis would be, as districts have grown in size and maybe changed in demographics a little bit, the way that money is distributed is not as impactful, because I would venture to say in the 50s, I went back to that graph, the 5 districts wouldn't be as spread out as they were, but with Act 388 and other variables that have come into play, where Anderson 1 is primarily a veteran district. So when you change the property, where property tax goes, we always kept our millage extremely low in Anderson 1. Miss Upton, Miss Ellison, Miss Hood were on the board back then.
Then we got penalized for it.
And so then overnight, when you change the way that school districts are funded, we primarily relied on the growth. Every time a new house got built, you get a little bit more money. You get 25 students from 25 new houses. That's enough to pay for a teacher's salary. Now you need an Arthrex or a Bosch or a Duke Power Plant, things like that are going in other places in the county, and we're getting neighborhoods. And with the neighborhoods, yes, we get some money for debt service for capital, but we don't get operating. So we can, is that kind of?
Yes, 100%. Yes, thank you.
Okay, so where that puts us currently is, that puts us right at $123 billion as our projected revenue. That's 2%, the 2% increase. So there is a little room between expenses. I say little, but it really is more than that, but there's some room between the expenses and the revenue, and that's where the work has to start. So you want to?
Yep. So we still are fine-tuning some things. Literally today, we were fine-tuning a little bit with Ms. Brady, but we do have a little bit of good news. Remember 2 years ago, we had a bit of a surplus in our fund balance where the percent was creeping up to 28, 30%. So we transferred $4 million to the capital program. Last year, we did not do that. So our fund balance grew almost $5.5 million. We're at 28.2% fund balance. And you know, we want to keep a healthy fund balance, but we let it grow a little bit last year because we knew Oak Hill was coming. We knew we were going to have a year where we were going to hire additional staff for custodians, related arts teachers, front office workers, cafeteria workers, things like that. So we knew we would have to plan ahead. So we allowed that fund balance to grow so that if we needed to use it this year, we were planning ahead. So we've got some budgeting options. We're continuing to work with Ms. Brady and her team to look at additional personnel cuts that could benefit. Teacher contracts go out tomorrow. So this is the time of year where if we just don't have much turnover in Anderson 1, so we wait for folks to leave and see if it's necessary to replace them. Operational cuts. I want to brag on Ms. Brenna Horn, the principal at Oak Hill. She's worked with Cindy Durham and Susan Ashley, our director of procurement, to really make sure that we are being responsible with every penny that is spent, so that we could have some additional funds to make sure concrete and powders are taken care of. Self-funded revenue, exactly what we talked about with adult ed. How can we continue to take care of that with investment, things like that, the use of the fund balance. And our last option would be to ask for a millage increase, but I'll be honest, I am taking that off the table. I know we've done that some the last few years, but I think we all see what our community would expect. I think we can continue to close the gap where we could use between $1 million and $1.5 million in fund balance, which we have been planning to all along. And by the time we meet in May, we'll have a balanced budget around $125 million where we're doing that without doing a millage increase, and we can continue to work ahead. So that is our first reading of the budget. I want to thank Ms. Durham and her team. We've had a lot of transition in the finance department. Travis is still in the background answering questions when we need him, so don't worry, he's still available. But if you have questions, there might be some specific questions that we can talk through over the next few weeks. Feel free to reach out, or if you have any questions now, let us know.
I love the cuts. Wonderful. We want to maintain our excellence. But I also want to make sure we reiterate to the teachers that, we're making these cuts, but if you need something, it doesn't need to come out of your pocket. Absolutely. Don't be afraid to ask for it.
Absolutely. I'm glad you said that. And if you look at one of the things that we are on June 3rd, we're having a assistant principal visioning day. And one of the things that we are planning to talk with our principals about is that exact thing. You've got some local money at your schools, and I think we have preached so much over the years, like, be careful what you're doing, be careful. People are holding on to some of that money, and some of those accounts are at a point where if a teacher comes to you and asks for something, let's figure out a way to work with them. And I'm glad you said that, and I know that all of you, all 7 of our board members, want to make sure our teachers have exactly what they need. So, thanks so much. Well, with that,
I got receipts for the last 20 years for Jill, so we'll just
No grandfather's box.
Yeah,
Thank you, Jonathan.
now I'm going to turn it over to Mr. Moore. I think we got the instructional report.
Yes, sir. A brief instructional report this evening, and just want to start off. I like to start off with a celebration when we can, but had a chance to attend our 25th. We're celebrating our 25th year of Strings Orchestra. Yes.
Before I forget, Ms. Durham, you did a good job the first time out.
Yes.
Thank you. Go ahead, Fred.
Yeah. Yes, sir. Absolutely. So we did have our 5th grade honors strings performance at Powersville High School, and we were able to tell an overflow crowd of the success of our orchestra program through the years in Anderson One. So it was a really cool opportunity to do that. And they really do, I know I mentioned this earlier in the board meeting, but they come a long way in a short amount of time. So it was a great evening.
Those teachers, excellent teachers.
Big time. They are incredible. Just quickly, an update, because Dr. Young mentioned it. We did start testing season officially. It gets a little stressful, but I want to brag on our folks. I was dropping my child off at Pattersville Elementary School today, and there was an accident, unfortunately, and so traffic was just crazy, and we had a delayed start to testing. We had some internet power issues in a couple of locations, but our folks were champs and handled it like professionals, and it really was a successful first day of testing. You can see what testing looks like at the elementary and middle level. You can see those next couple of weeks will be dedicated to that. I'll speak to that momentarily. And of course, our high schools actually kicked off part of their EOCs today. So just wanted to share those with you. And actually, I was in a meeting with our folks today. We're working on next year's calendar for testing, so it never ends. But just so you know, we're preparing hard to serve our teachers and our students well for testing. All of our school testing coordinators receive very detailed training, as well as all staff. So they're very well versed in that testing procedure. There's a lot of legality and red tape at times that they have to consider. Students have practiced with the online tools, so they have practiced through the year, especially here recently in preparation for using their device for testing. Kristen Hearn, who was here just a few minutes ago, her digital learning team, and our folks at TSS, they have assigned personnel in every building when testing is going on. I was assigned a building today to be there to support our teachers and our students throughout testing. We, of course, disseminated information. Ms. Mazza has done a great job getting information out there to our parents via social media and our website. And then I just put positive vibes because we had some pep rallies and we had some really cool events to kind of get our children pumped up and ready for testing. Yes, sir.
I was just going to point out, too, Mr. Moore and his team have been intentional. As you know, concrete's only been kindergarten, first, and second. So Ms. Porter, Ms. Ernst, and Ms. Garrison, several people that have spent their career at concrete have been involved
in planning testing and being visible in the buildings, just so that they know what they're doing as we make that adjustment.
Yes, sir. Squirrel was with me at Powdersville Elementary School today, asking a lot of direct questions about what that testing piece looks like. So that's just to let you know that we are geared up and ready for testing season, and we're really excited about that, and know our folks are going to do a great job with that.
I think we should have on social media it's been positive too. I've seen
Yes, ma'am.
some schools.
Yes, ma'am. It was great. Dr. Young and I attended the pep rally at the Powdersville High School football stadium, and that was fun. So we had a good time with that. My last order of business. So we have course codes in a program called Satchel, and when we don't have an approved course code, as is standard operating procedure and some housekeeping, we have to get local board approved courses approved by you guys. And so in your packet, I know your preliminary packet as well as what you have in front of you, we do have those. Most of those are elective courses, and Ms. Upton, I would ask the board to consider approving our local board approved courses.
You've heard Mr. Moore's recommendation that we approve these local courses. Do I have a motion?
I do so motion to approve the local board courses.
Dr. Neal, do I have a second?
Second.
Mr. Wilson, any discussion? Hearing none, we're ready to vote. All those in favor, please show it by the uplifted hand.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Next, I'm going to turn over to Ms. Brady for our student nutrition report.
Well, guys, I decided that everybody gets to spotlight something positive all the time. So I decided to introduce y'all to Kayla. Kayla was one of our students in one of our self-contained programs. She began in high school working with our cafeteria, one of the cafeterias, and I want to brag on Mr. Dopkins. This was his brainchild, which I think is amazing. And I also want to say our cafeteria managers do beautifully with this. So this is such a positive thing. So I wanted to share it with you this evening. We are building our own workforce, or trying to, because it's very hard to get those cafeterial and custodial positions, as you can imagine. So we're building our own workforce while we're also meeting our student needs. So I just wanted to introduce you to Kayla. She is so excited. She was working an internship. She did absolutely beautiful, and she's now an employee for us. So that, I just thought I would share that with y'all, that we would like to do that more, even with our custodial. We've tried a few things through vocational education, but Mr. Dopkins has certainly worked hard, and I'm proud of our student nutrition folks for embracing our students who become employees.
I think we've got 4 or 5 in the cafeteria, and I think Mr. Leslie has about the same number of students working in our maintenance department that are doing some work like that. And then actually, Mr. Gilstrap has 1 student in technology that helps us out from time to time. So
right.
We've definitely been tapping in, working with Ms. Harrell, and working with our folks to keep broadening this.
And I think just tonight, having our students who are committed to education, it all goes hand in hand. And that's kind of what we're trying to do, is just to grow our next teaching force, but also to grow those other critical jobs that we have to fill.
It takes a team.
It takes a team. So I wanted to share that with y'all this evening.
Ms. Brady, on the meals, is that, remind me, is that 2025, is that year to date through March, or is that total for 2025? Is that, I'm just looking at the average daily meals. I'm asking 2 questions. Is it, are we almost caught up in is that academic year 2025-26, or is that?
Yes, but I think it runs 1 month behind, correct, Dr. Young?
Yeah, this is from March, yes.
Yes, so, but yes.
So the average, I guess the real question is, the average daily meal participations this year is 86.96, and last year it's 94.03. What's driving that down?
I think we have seen that trend all year. I think we have seen that trend all year. I think because that aligns directly with our enrollment dropping, as Dr. Young referenced, as far as.
All right, I talked about that,
Yeah. We lost a number of students at Palmetto High School that graduated early, and our high schools are often our big money makers as far as student nutrition and meals. I don't know if you want to add anything to that.
Yeah, I know a few years back we had it during the Obama administration, we had all the salt taken out of stuff.
And there's
Things went
still
down,
some.
So we drove, I didn't know if anything had come out like that, or I doubt it, but I just asked.
There's still some regulatory type things with that, like snack machines and things like that.
Yeah.
But I think the main thing to look at is just our enrollment has dropped somewhat, and that
Gotcha.
always impacts our student nutrition program.
That's gotta be going back up all these houses.
I hope so.
Any other questions?
Thank you, Ms. Brady.
Yes, thank you.
Next, a little bit of a curveball. We're going to give Dr. Wilson the night off on the administration report. Ms. Brady's going to tell you about the leave
Oh, yeah,
policy.
somebody who knows about policy, he's got it.
Well, I will tell y'all one thing. I do want to say a special thank you to Dr. Wilson over the last few years, because I am glad he was in charge of the policy. After working extensively through redoing a leave policy and working closely with Ms. Towson, who really did a beautiful job, working with Dr. Young and sending this to Kathy Mahoney, we now have and I kind of did an overview for y'all at last month's board meeting, but we now have 6 policies for first reading for your consideration. If you have any questions about any of those, please do not hesitate to email me, call me. I'll try to answer them in the best way possible. I do want to say that after managing the leave system for so long, and that was very helpful in just knowing what works and what doesn't oftentimes.
The only thing I would add is the professional staff and leave and the support staff leave are the exact same. So you don't, some of it gets repetitive, but we have the separate policies, so Ms. Brady and her team updated both of them as you're reading through it. If it starts getting repetitive, it is repetitive. You're not losing your mind.
And we have a month to call and talk to you.
Yes, yes, ma'am.
Thank you, Ms. Brady.
Last thing, just quickly, give y'all some updates. The Raptor wearable badges, Dr. Wilson and Greg have been working with the Gap infrastructure installation here in the next few weeks, so they'll be ready by fall. OmniAlert, if you remember, is the AI software that works with our camera system, so if a weapon is detected, we renewed that software.
I'll just mention, it really works well. We've had, this week, we had a kid come in with a Nerf gun. There wasn't any intent to hurt. They were going to do a video, and they brought the Nerf gun as a part of their video. Man, it picked it up. Of course, none of us were expecting that to happen, so all of a sudden, everybody got really hyped with that. It was really, but it does a really good job to let us know. We'll also get hits on our ROTC. They'll be practicing, and the guns will show up. So I just want to let you know that it is working really well.
Every time they did the presentation of colors at a Palmetto or Wren basketball game, we would get the call. and then we mentioned this. We participated in one in Anderson 5. We're going to be hosting an emergency management simulation in October. Dr. Wilson's already invited Dr. Whitfield to be part of those planning with emergency management. But that's a PD day. And so we'll be working with Ms. Harrell and her team at the Career Center to have some students and work with that. But we've got emergency management, EMS, folks at AMED that'll all be part of that. Anything else you can say?
Yeah, local, we're involved. We met with Chief Marcy, Williamson PD, West Pelzer, the whole community. We're really excited because AMED and Prisma don't almost never do anything together. We've got them both coming to the table because they realize we're going to do it in Powdersville. If something were to happen in Powdersville, both those hospitals would respond, and they need to coordinate how they would handle that, and they've really not done much of that. So that would be very helpful to our community as well as, to us. So we're excited about it.
The company that we have that was going around and doing
the Defender.
Yes.
So actually, you can speak. The
Defender has actually helped us quite a bit this year, specifically at Palmetto Elementary School. We've had some trouble keeping the SRO there just for a variety of reasons with Williamston PD, so Defender's helped us there. Defender has been good to come work with the metal detectors at some of the basketball games we did this year. They've worked with us, and we continue to be able to invest more in that as well to make sure we have those more regularly at the high school.
I thought it was kind of neat that the two regional directors for our area came out and helped us with Special Olympics. They didn't charge us, they just came and helped us because they knew there'd be a large group there. We hired a couple of officers, but we appreciate that, and the Sheriff's Department will give them props. Both of our lieutenant and our sergeant came out to help support us with traffic and things like that, which was really helpful because we didn't have much of a budget for Special Olympics, so that was very helpful for those folks to do that.
Couple of updates from our capital improvement plan that we're using our local option sales tax money to pay for. We've got our ADA compliant playgrounds going in Palmetto Elementary and Hunt Meadows. Installation will begin there late May. You might have seen on social media, Cedar Grove had their new playground installed a couple weeks ago. And we've also, I think the playground rep that we work with, we work with the Wren Elementary PTSO, trying to get a plan for them to get some upgrades on one of their playgrounds as well. Palmetto High bleachers, if you've gone to a soccer game at Palmetto High School this spring, you'll see that the visiting bleachers are completely gone. They're grading over there so they can start installation for the visiting bleachers. They'll be ready to go by opening day of football season in the fall. It'll be pretty similar to the visiting side of what Powdersville has, if you're trying to picture how big it will be. The Powdersville Band Tower installation's underway. They did know they're doing, but that's kind of a picture of what it'll look like. You can see, I know Ms. Hood's seen the old band tower. I think that's slightly safer than the band tower you and your kids spent time on at Powdersville over the years. And then our HVAC projects, beginning, that's May 22nd. So we got kids' last day of school's on Thursday. We've got them coming to work and start moving stuff on Friday. So that'll be going underway. We've got the transition going on in Powdersville. Landscaping is underway. We're coordinating details for opening all 3 schools in July. Maintenance is packing things up May 21st and 22nd so we can start getting the floors going. New furniture is being delivered on Monday, and then inspections are taking place at the schools the next 2 or 3 weeks. So a lot's happening there. Ms. Horn's been able to have her faculty come visit the school. They've allowed her to take folks on groups throughout the building. I think if you see on the picture on the left, that gentleman with his arms crossed, I think everybody else is excited. He realized how much bigger Oak Hill is than Powdersville Elementary is. He's going to be doing floors, but no, he's excited about that. But everybody has just been so excited to get to see what that's looking like and that finished product. You start seeing some of the finishing touches. The gym floor looks awesome. The cafeteria coming together there. This is a classroom. You see the cubbies and the counter space and storage. Real excited to see that come together. This is one of the music classrooms. What you can't see is the whiteboard, even with details of having the staff on the whiteboard is in place. And then in the room right beside this is another music classroom that's got a big storage area that we look at Mr. Velasco, the strings teacher, with, and the music teacher. They think they've got tons of space to store stuff as opposed to in the corner in some of their schools now. This is the collaborative space. You see some of the carpet's still covered up, but you see the cubbies and storage that are out in that area, so that some of the things that teachers use when they're doing things with groups will be able to be stored out there, and the tack boards on the wall. See the landscaping here. That's the bricks that Mr. Merritt got us in touch with from the original Oak Hill School. So you got that bench right in front of the school, and just you can really see the finished product that's starting to come together. And then next year, when we have a board meeting and we have lots of students to recognize, this will be the room. And I have talked about this with, I I guess, well, it's being recorded, I'll just say it. We might be able to have our June board meeting in that room and give you guys a little tour of the school there to check it out. So
This is the training center.
yes, sir. So that'll be a good space to have. I think Mr. Moore is excited about that, probably more so than anybody.
Yes.
But that is all for the safety and construction update. There's a lot of moving parts, but I think next time we meet at the end of May, I think Ms. Horn and some of her office staff will actually be working in the front part of Oak Hill. We expect to pass the fire inspection and some of that by the middle of May around graduation time, and then we'll be able to start using some of the front office facilities there.
Is there any potential opportunity to use this as a revenue source? You don't want to do that.
I mean, I think you'll
It's
see.
right there on the interstate, I ended up being for other corporations.
No, I think that's one of those things we need to think about, and also the gym is a full-size gym, so that'll be another thing, working with Play for them to be able to use that, but you know, they have to rent the facilities to use that, so that's intended to be that. But I think that's a great idea for also the conference center. We can definitely think about that being a rental opportunity.
Yeah.
It's a good idea.
It's so easy to advertise now.
Yeah.
Thank you.
It's nice.
We're ready for the next item, which is personnel.
Yep. Ms. Brady.
Yes, as we stated, we have one administrative recommendation, Mr. Mike Gianni, AP at Lynn Elementary School. We have 7 teacher recommendations, 8 transfers, 7 retirements, and 11 resignations. Also, you have attached all of your our current certified teacher contracts. They do go out to teachers tomorrow for a return date of May 11th. I do want to say a special thank you to Ms. Gambrell. Heather had the daunting task of making sure all those things were lined up right and everything. So thank you, and those are the personnel recommendations.
You've heard Ms. Brady's recommendations for personnel. Do we have a motion so we can approve these tonight?
So moved.
Mr. Carr, do we have a second? Ms. Ellison. All those in favor, show it by the uplifted hand. That is unanimous. Our next item is to adjourn, but we also have to have a picture ready. So we can adjourn, and we'll just click one.
I want to say something too.
Yeah.
All these pictures y'all send out, and all the pictures y'all put up over the last couple of months, and on social media and everything like that, I just want to recognize our administration, y'all, and the principals, and everybody at the school. Our teachers get in there with the kids, but every time I see these pictures, I see all y'all in there with them too. You know what I mean? You ain't standing back, you're getting involved, and I appreciate that, because I think that's a really, really good thing.
Thank you.
Okay. Do you have a motion to adjourn? Mr. Wilson, do you have a second? Dr. Neal, all those in favor, please stand and don't forget to